Environmental justice through smarter enforcement. Environmental enforcement is moving beyond punishment toward prevention and community repair. A new comparative study across the United States, United Kingdom, UK, and Chile shows how flexible enforcement mechanisms, such as the EPA's Supplemental Environmental Projects, CPEEPs, the UK's enforcement undertakings, and Chile's compliance programs, are advancing environmental justice through equitable remediation. Law enforcement is crucial for the achievement of environmental justice objectives, the study's authors note, emphasizing that the way penalties are structured can determine whether communities experience true relief or recurring harm. Reframing enforcement through equity. The concept of environmental justice, EJ, has traditionally been rooted in permitting and rulemaking, but this research underscores that enforcement is equally vital. Penalties and settlements, when designed with community input and measurable outcomes, can directly benefit those most affected by pollution and environmental risk, which examines three distinct national models, identifies a unifying principle: remediation over retribution. Each system has evolved to embed social and distributive equity into enforcement outcomes, whether through direct investments in community health, restoration projects, or commitments to prevent future violations. U.S. model: SEPs return as a tool for community restoration. In the United States, SEPs allow violators to fund local projects that provide tangible benefits in exchange for reduced penalties. The Department of Justice reinstated SEPs in 2022 after a 5-year suspension, calling them a mechanism to ensure communities directly harmed by violations receive real environmental improvements. The EPA's 2024 Environmental Justice Strategic Plan expanded this approach, instructing regions to integrate EJ metrics into enforcement decisions and to prioritize projects in overburdened areas. Recent cases have applied SEPs to fund air quality monitors near industrial corridors, wetland restoration near disadvantaged communities, and lead pipe replacement programs in cities where violations occurred. Each project is required to demonstrate environmental additionality, meaning it must produce benefits that would not have occurred without the enforcement action. UK framework, civil sanctions, and public transparency. The UK Environment Agency has refined its enforcement undertakings, EUs, and civil sanction framework under the Environment Act 2021 and the Environmental Civil Sanctions, England, Order 2010. Updated guidance released in October 2025 clarifies how companies can propose remediation commitments in lieu of prosecution, provided their actions produce verifiable benefits and are disclosed publicly. Unlike US SEPs, EUs are fully negotiated settlements that must be accepted by the regulator before an investigation concludes. They often include habitat restoration, river cleanups, or technology upgrades designed to prevent recurrence. However, the TL study found that community participation in selecting these projects remains limited. Improving transparency and stakeholder consultation is identified as a critical step toward aligning the UK model with environmental justice principles. Chile's compliance programs, enforcement under development. Chile's Superintendents of the Environment, SMA, introduced compliance programs, CPs, in 2012 to bring facilities into compliance through negotiated action plans rather than immediate fines. While these programs have reduced repeat offenses, the study notes that they focus more on technical compliance than on equitable outcomes. The authors recommend integrating EJ criteria, such as local health risk data and participatory monitoring, into CP design. This would ensure that enforcement not only corrects violations, but also addresses cumulative impacts in vulnerable communities. The next phase, integrating justice into global compliance. Across all three systems, the research identifies key design principles for justice-forward enforcement. Remediation as default. Penalties should restore affected environments or directly benefit impacted populations. Community involvement. Local voices must shape project design, scope, and monitoring. Transparency and accountability. Settlement terms and expected outcomes should be publicly accessible. Additionality and metrics. Projects must yield measurable benefits beyond existing legal obligations. These principles mirror evolving expectations among multinational corporations, where ESG disclosure frameworks now require companies to demonstrate equitable remediation, in response to environmental harm. The policy outlook. With environmental justice elevated as a policy priority in the US, UK, and Latin America, enforcement systems are shifting toward collaboration and measurable outcomes. As the TL study concludes, flexible enforcement that blends deterrence with restorative outcomes provides a path for fairer and more effective environmental protection. For companies, this evolution signals a new compliance landscape, one where enforcement no longer ends with a check, but with a commitment to rebuild trust and restore ecosystems. You've been listening to Sustainability Soundbites presented by E+E Leader. For partnership opportunities, reach out to a member of our team